Sinuses are air-filled extensions of the respiratory part of the nasal cavity. There are four important sinuses in our skull: the frontal sinuses, the ethmoidal air cells, the sphenoid sinuses, and the maxillary sinuses. These cavities have similar epithelium as the nasal cavity and the pharynx, meaning that they secrete mucus and have cilia. The roof of the nasal cavity is the cribriform plate of the frontal bone. The posterior aspect is the nasopharynx. The floor is the maxilla, and the anterior aspect is the atrium, which leads into the outside world. Starting with the sphenoid sinus, it drains into the sphenoethmoidal recess. Tilting your head forward would help drain it. The frontal sinus lie between the outer and inner plates of the frontal bone. They drain through a frontal duct into the ethmoidal infundibulum, which opens into the semilunar hiatus of the middle meatus. The anterior and middle ethmoidal sinuses drain here also, along with the maxillary sinus by way of the infundibulum to the semilunar hiatus into the middle meatus. The maxillary sinus is directly inferior to the orbital cavity, and tilting your head to the side will help drain the maxillary sinus. The posterior ethmoidal air cells drain into the superior nasal meatus, shown here. And lastly, the nasolacrimal duct from the orbital cavity is the only one that drains into the inferior meatus of the nasal cavity.